program is brought to you by realestate.com.au. With more homes for sale than anywhere else, realestate.com.au is Australia's #1 address in property.
Welcome back. There were about 1,400 auctions held across Australia last week, returning a clearance rate of 60.1%. Sydney held 450 auctions with a clearance rate of 62%. There were also another 1,479 private sales in New South Wales. Melbourne held 478 auctions with a clearance rate of 65.9%. There were another 977 private sales in Victoria. Brisbane held 95 auctions with a clearance rate of 48.4%. Queensland also reported 1,008 private sales. Adelaide held 63 auctions. The clearance rate there was 76.2%. And South Australia reported 225 private sales. The ACT held 42 auctions, clearance rate of 61.9%, plus a further 74 private sales. And Perth, it held 7 auctions with a clearance rate of 57.1%, but there was an extra 573 private sales across Western Australia. Well, for more on property, I'm joined by Paul Ryan from RBA Group. Paul, thanks for your time. Clearance rate's down a little bit over the previous weekend, but it is school holidays in quite a few states, right?
Yeah, market's slowed. This is a seasonal slowing that we tend to see, but auction volumes are up. We're still seeing auction clearance rates just a nudge above 60%, which has been consistent with that moderate pace of growth that we've seen really throughout all of 2024 so far.
And how much stock are we expecting to come onto the market in coming weeks? Is it going to become less and less? Or?
No, quite the opposite. We've got 2,300 auctions scheduled this weekend. That's up 18% on last year. So still lots more properties coming to market. Seller confidence is still really high. And as we saw from those clearance rates, still lots of buyers picking up those properties.
Yeah, what sort of traffic are you seeing on the website right now?
Still really strong engagement on listings on realestate.com.au. We're seeing really strong buyer demand, and that's the thing that's really typified the property market for 2024 this year. Despite higher interest rates, despite higher rents, despite challenged mortgage affordability, we're seeing lots of buyers in the market.
And one big growing cohort is the investor side of things, which has really picked up over the last 12 months.
Yeah, there's been a big shift from first-home buyers who we saw were really active during the pandemic with lower interest rates back towards investors. There's a bit more macroeconomic certainty that's allowing investors the confidence to get back in the property market. And they're making up about 37% of new credit at the moment. That's really robust.
Now, later this week, the big economic news Thursday, labour force numbers. What are you expecting?
It'll be interesting to see. I think the labour force numbers this week, as well as quarterly CPI coming out next week, have the potential to be, something that could change the RBA's mind on interest rates. So we'll be watching that closely. We're expecting continued employment growth at a slower pace. That's been the trend over this year. The RBA will be wanting to see that. They want to see the labour market continue to cool, but obviously not throw the brakes on just immediately.
Yeah, obviously they want to see the labour market cooling because it means they won't have to lift rates again. And now it looks pretty likely that they're probably not going to raise rates next month.
That's the expectation. But yes, if there's a curveball from labour force and more so from a quarterly CPI next week, those are the things that could change the RBA's mind. But yeah, at this point, they're seeing the economy evolve kind of as they're expecting, this kind of soft landing that they're trying to engineer, whereby the economy slows without going into a recession. The inflation comes back to their target. They're seeing the signs of that at the moment. Obviously, they as well as everyone else, is watching the data very closely.
Now, I believe overnight tonight, US Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to speak, and it looks like in the US rates are going to start falling in September, and that's going to probably have a bit of a flow-on effect to us.
Yeah, we saw overseas, particularly the US, raising rates before the RBA did when that phase of the cycle kicked off, and it's looking like that's how it's going to be on the downswing as well. It's not super unusual, Australia and the US, intertwined economies, but at different phases of development and different phases of the cycle at the moment. So it does signal that the global economy is seeing low enough inflation to start to bring interest rates down, and that's good news for the global economy and Australian interest rates.
Yeah, I think we've been about 6 months behind the US, and I think we've got an ECB rates decision coming up later this week as well. Paul Ryan, thanks for coming on the show this afternoon.
Thank you very much.